mind and body, breath and belief. Healing starts deeper than what you can see. Victoria Kennedy, guiding the way, where spirit and science meet every day. Real talk, real tools, helping you align. Welcome to the space where the body meets mind.
Hello everyone, I am Victoria Kennedy, medium clairvoyant from Los Angeles, California. And thank you for tuning in to Spiritually Influenced. Today we're talking about something that may sound a little bit mystical, but it's actually deeply personal and very, very real. We're talking about your higher self. Who is your higher self? And is your higher self separate from you? Is your higher self a guide? Is your higher self your soul? And more importantly, how can you speak directly with your higher self? You're going to learn this today, so let's get into it. First, I want to clear something up right away. Your higher self is not outside of you. It's not floating somewhere in the clouds waiting to send you signals in Morse code. It's not a spirit guide, and it's not some spiritual being just watching you from a distance. Your higher self is embedded within you. Your higher self can help you when you have good and bad days. And those are the days I'm talking about when you wake up and you're already physically and emotionally tired. The days when you just want to do nothing but hide from the world, where everything feels like it's falling apart at the same time. Relationships feel strained, work feels heavy, life feels confusing, and you just cannot explain why. And the hardest part, on the outside, everyone thinks you have it together. You're still showing up, you're still answering texts, you're still smiling and laughing, you're still handling your responsibilities, but inside you feel completely off balance. You know that something shifted, but you just don't know when or how it happened. And you begin to question every single thing in your life. There isn't a lot of open conversations about the higher self. People will talk about manifestation, about spirit guides, about angels. But when it comes to the higher self, that's the part of you that actually holds the blueprint of your life. And that's a conversation that always gets skipped. You go to psychics, you're trying to find the right answer, and you're never able to get that. But today, that all changes. Because I'm going to give you the real tools, and I mean the tools that you can use immediately, the tools that will not cost you a single cent. One thing that really bothers me is when people say they want to help you, but then the help is locked behind a paywall. They'll tell you they want to help you and they have all the answers. They'll say they have the tools, but first you have to buy the book. You have to subscribe to the premium tier, join the exclusive membership, or purchase the master class. And listen, there is nothing wrong with people being paid for their work. Energy exchange is real. But when it comes to teaching someone how to connect with their higher self, that is not something that should be sold as if it belongs to someone else. Your connection to your higher self is not a product. It is your birthright. If you haven't figured it out yet, that is not how I work. God has given me every resource possible, every gift, every insight, every ability to see and to feel beyond the surface. And if those gifts were given to me freely, then it's my responsibility to share what I can freely with all of you. You don't need to pay someone to access your higher self. You don't need a membership to hear your intuition. You don't need a certificate to sit in silence and ask for clarity. And that's because the higher self does not require a subscription. So today, I'm going to give you the tools that you can use right now. Who is your higher self? Well, your higher self isn't an espresso shot you call on first thing in the morning expecting instant results. It's not a spiritual drive-through. You don't wake up and say, higher self, fix it, and suddenly everything is aligned by lunchtime. Can you imagine how awesome that would be, though? There is work that has to happen, and it has to happen on your side, the physical side, the human side, the part of you that still has habits, wounds, triggers, patterns, and even responsibilities. The higher self is not separate from you. It's an aspect of you. It is your true self, the divine intelligence within you, the God spark that lives inside of your human experience. And I know some of you might be shaking your head right now thinking, what the heck is she referring to? Trust me, I've been exactly where you are. When I first began understanding this concept, it challenged everything I thought I already knew. In the Bible, and I'm not getting religious here, just making a general observation, it says you were made in the image of God. If that's true, and I believe it is, then that means something so powerful. That means you carry divine essence, not ego power, not control over others, but divine essence. You are the authority of your inner world. You are the steward of your soul. You are the God of you. And within you, there's an entire constellation of consciousness, not one single voice, not one single layer, but it's literally a spiritual ecosystem. You have the awareness of God, the Christ consciousness, the I am presence, the higher self, the human personality, the inner child, your intuition, and they are not all mashed in this one big blur. They're all distinct aspects of consciousness, but they are unified by one thing, and that one thing is the divine spark within, the divine essence. That divinity within you is divine intelligence. Now let's not confuse that with artificial intelligence. Nothing man-made can compete with divine intelligence. Artificial intelligence is processing data. Divine intelligence creates life. Artificial intelligence predicts patterns. Divine intelligence authors destiny. One runs on algorithms, the other runs on internal awareness, which again is the divine intelligence within you. The spirit within you, your higher self, is your true self, your soul self, the part of you that sees ahead, that senses energy, that understands consequences before it unfolds. It's that quiet voice that says, don't turn left, something feels off, go right. It's that gut feeling that doesn't need proof. It's that nudge that tells you to call someone out of nowhere, and later you find out they needed you in that exact moment. That's not coincidence. That's guidance. That's guidance from your higher self, the one who also pushes you beyond your own limitations. When you say, I cannot become an author, I'm a bad speller, your higher self will simply say, what does spelling have to do with your message? There are editors, there are tools out there to help you. When you say, I'm not qualified, that's when your higher self kicks in and says, qualified by whose standards? When you say, I don't know my purpose, your higher self will gently ask, what makes you feel alive? See, our purpose is rarely hidden. It's usually the thing you keep talking yourself out of. It's the passion that makes you light up when you speak about it. It's the idea that won't leave you alone. It's the one thing you say, if I could just do this full time. And again, that's when your higher self comes in and says, why can't you? You know, the higher self is so powerful, and yet your higher self doesn't yell, won't shame you, and will not compare you to anyone else, but rather expand you, want you to grow, want you to be fully aligned within the spiritual side of you, which is that divine intelligence. The higher self does not see your limitations the way your human mind does. It does nothing but see possibility. It sees alignment. It sees timelines you cannot even begin to imagine. You know, your higher self is always talking to you, always guiding you. But most of the time, it's not that the guidance isn't there. It's just that we're not listening. You and I were taught from a young age, pray, go to God, ask Jesus, look up. Look up where? Where am I supposed to look up to? Am I looking up at the clouds? Am I looking up at the sky? Am I looking up, trying to find a bird, a plane? I have no idea what I'm looking up. And there is nothing wrong with prayer. There is nothing wrong with devotion. But somewhere along the way, we were conditioned to believe that the divine only exists outside of us. What about the aspect of God within you? What about the divine intelligence that lives in your own consciousness? Your higher self is that aspect. It is the God spark within you. the part of you that carries wisdom without distortion, the part of you that carries that direct knowing. When you constantly look outside yourself for answers, that's when you slowly begin to doubt the voice inside of yourself. And that doubt creates distance. And it's not because your higher self said, you know what, I'm done, I'm leaving. The higher self never leaves, but because you stop trusting the higher self. Your higher self will never lie to you. Fear lies, ego lies, insecurity lies, wounded patterns lie, but your higher self does not. It will never push you into harm's way. It will never tell you to betray your integrity. It will never tell you to shrink yourself to make someone else comfortable. If anything, it will challenge you to rise. It will tell you the truth when you don't want to hear it. It will say, this relationship is not aligned within your highest and best self. It will say, you've outgrown this job. It will say, stop settling. It will say, you are capable of so much more. And sometimes that truth feels uncomfortable. And we all know that change sometimes makes every single one of us feel uncomfortable. But just know, when you're growing, when you're perfectly aligned within that divine essence, that simply means you're growing. At the beginning of 2025, something really shifted for me. I just felt like I needed something more, something different. And that's when I found Dolores Cannon. Now, if you have not heard of Dolores Cannon, she's amazing. She's deeply immersed in topics like ETs and the consciousness, past life, and the unseen architects of reality. Unfortunately, she has since passed on, but her teachings, her recordings, her methodology, they're still very much alive. One of the things she became most known for was QHHT sessions, which stands for Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique. It's a method designed to guide someone into a deep trance state where they can access what Dolores Cannon referred to as the subconscious mind, what I understand as the higher self. I remember once I had completely finished the class and I needed some practice sessions and I needed volunteers. So I put out what I jokingly called an SOS on social media. And almost immediately, the right number of people responded. That alone felt as I was being guided. Each session is about 2 hours long. First, we begin with the past life regression, where the client is guided into another lifetime, another experience, another identity. And then once that portion unfolds, then we shift. That's when we call forward the higher self. That is where everything changed for me, because what I witnessed was amazing. I witnessed immediate healing. I have seen physical scars fade as if they were never there. I have witnessed chronic discomfort lessen in a single session. I've watched emotional trauma lift like a weight being removed from someone's chest. And this wasn't because of me, not because of the technique alone, but because once the higher self is accessed, the body responds. The higher self knows the blueprint of the physical body. It knows where trauma is stored. It knows what belief created the imbalance. It knows what can be released. And when given permission, it corrects the physical body. And again, that is divine intelligence. It's not forced. It's not dramatic. It's not chaotic. It's precise and in full alignment with the physical body. Watching those healings unfold changed my understanding of what the higher self truly is. The higher self is not symbolic. It's an active, aware, guiding intelligence within each and every one of us. When Dolores Cannon referred to it as a subconscious, she wasn't speaking about random mental noise. She was speaking about the deeper consciousness that runs beneath the personality, that part that remembers everything, the part that understands why the body reacts the way it does, the part that can answer questions a conscious mind cannot. In those sessions, when the higher self would come forward, the tone would just shift. The language would shift. The energy in the room would shift. It was calm. It was authoritative. It was compassionate. It was clear. And it always spoke from a place of love. That's when I truly understood. The higher self is not an abstract concept. It's fully accessible. And when you access it, healing is not something you chase. It is something that naturally occurs because you are reconnecting to the original design, which is the God within you, the intelligence that formed you before you ever formed a belief about yourself. That experience in 2025 didn't just teach me about the higher self. It showed me. It showed me that your higher self does not operate alone. It works in harmony. In my experience, it works alongside angels, ascended masters, and the presence of God. And it's not in competition, but it's in divine cooperation. And can I just tell you, there is nothing that prepares you for that feeling when that presence steps forward. When the angels move in during a healing, there's no drama. It's a gentle and powerful energy. The air feels different. The room feels fuller. There's a softness that settles in, but it's also strength. It's like being surrounded by something ancient and loving beyond words. And when the presence of God steps forward in a healing, there are no perfect sentences for that. It is shock and awe, but not in a fearful way. It's overwhelming peace. It's purity. It's authority wrapped in compassion. You feel small in the most beautiful way, but not diminished, just aware that you're standing inside something sacred. That is the beauty of divinity. And that is what your higher self does. It opens doorways. Your higher self is the bridge between your human self and the greater spiritual realm. It knows how to access healing on every aspect of your being. Physical, emotional, mental, energetic, spiritual. Healing is not just about the body. It's also about being perfectly aligned. But here's where responsibility comes in. You must establish that one-on-one connection with your higher self, not through fear or through desperation, but through that relationship that you need to be able to create. Your higher self wants to work with you. It wants to guide you. It wants to show you where the imbalance began. Because once you find the root cause of something, the issue often begins to correct itself. Symptoms are messages, pain is communication, emotional triggers are indicators, and the higher self does not randomly remove things without understanding why they formed in the first place. It reveals the root cause, the underlying issue. And when the root cause is addressed, healing becomes natural. Let me give you a quick example. When I was a little girl, I want to say maybe about 2 or 3, I found a little baby kitten, all white. I named her Misty. I asked my mom if I could keep her. My mom said yes, let's keep her in the garage. So one day I came home and I looked inside of the garage and she was nowhere to be found. And I just remember being so sad. Well, I want to say when I was 18, I was at my sister's house and my niece got a cat. And if you know me, you know I am an animal lover. So I was snuggling my niece's cat. I was playing with the cat, giving the cat little tum-tum rubs. But then when I left, my eyes began to burn. They were watering. They were irritated. They were red. I had bumps on my head. I was literally having an allergic reaction. And I did not know why. But then that's when I realized that I was allergic to cats. So from then on, anytime I would go to a client's house, I would ask them, do you have any cats? Because if they did, then I wanted to make sure I had my inhaler with me, that I took all necessary precautions, like a Claritin or something. And then about 10 years ago, I was having a conversation with my mom. And I was like, hey, Mom, do you remember that white little kitten I had named Misty? And my mom looked at me and she goes, I do. And I was like, whatever happened to that kitten? I remember she got really serious and her demeanor changed. And she said, the kitten would do nothing but meow. And your father got irritated and got rid of the cat. And I was like, why would he do that? Of course it's going to be meowing. Maybe it needed food. Maybe it needed water. Maybe just wanted to get out of that garage. And I just pretty much just left it alone. A few weeks ago, I was talking with a friend of mine, and we were talking about childhood trauma. And all of a sudden I had this epiphany. And I said to her, you know what? I bet you I know why I'm allergic to cats. And I said, I bet you I'm allergic to cats because I was so upset when my cat ended up gone. I bet you I was so upset because my cat went MIA, basically. So that was my emotional defense mechanism to keep me safe. So when you find the underlying cause, the root cause, you're supposed to have that instant healing because you identified the problem. So I wanted to test out my theory. I called my friend who works at a cat rescue, and I said, hey, I need to be around cats because this is what happened. I want to test it out. She said, sure, come on down. I went down. I was petting cats. I was playing with them. I was holding them. And you know what? You guessed it. I had no reaction whatsoever. I had no physical symptoms. Is that not amazing? How does the higher self fit into this picture? Again, it's the God within you that healed you, who healed me. That's how. So how do you actually speak with your higher self? Well, this is simple, and I mean simple. We tend to overcomplicate spiritual connections. We think it has to be dramatic, ceremonial, or perfect, but it doesn't. First, anytime you are intentionally connecting with spirit, begin with protection. Surround yourself with the white light from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. See it, feel it, imagine it like a luminous shield wrapping around you. Remember, it's not fear-based, it is alignment-based. You're setting the tone. Then you have two options. You can go into a meditative state during the day, or you can do what I often do. At night, once I'm done praying, I lay down in bed, I put my headphones on. 9 times out of 10, I'm listening to ocean sounds, because there's just something about the rhythm of water that quiets my mind. I start to breathe, I allow my thoughts to slow down naturally. Then I ask my higher self, please step forward and allow me to feel your presence. Allow me to feel your signal. Now, this part is important. All spirit has a presence. All spirit has what I call the signal. That's the way you can recognize what spirit is stepping forward. So when I ask my higher self to step forward, I feel a coolness on my upper left side of my arm. When I ask for the signal, I feel a sensation on the left side of my jaw. That is my signal. Yours may be completely different. It could be an eye twitch, a tingling in your hand, pressure on your shoulder, a warmth in your chest. That is where you pay attention. At first, you're just kind of experimenting. You're learning the language of your own energy. So when you ask for the signal, notice what you feel. If you're unsure, all you need to do is ask again. Please allow me to feel your signal. Please make your signal stronger. Please stop the signal. Please make your signal stronger once again. And just know you're doing nothing but confirming communication with your own energy. Now, also remember, your higher self is not going to get annoyed. Your higher self does not become frustrated. I mean, think about it. If I was asking you, can you say that again over and over and over and over? You're going to be like, girl, I'm done. Right? And you're going to probably end up walking away. But your higher self won't do that. Your higher self wants you to recognize the signal. So you can ask as many times as you need to until you feel confident. Now let's break it down clearly. Step 1. Surround yourself with the white light from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. Step 2. Quiet your mind and just breathe. Don't force it. Just breathe. Step 3. Ask yourself to step forward. And ask your higher self to allow you to feel their presence and signals. Step 4. Understand this. Your higher self has a beautiful name, which is divinity. It is the divine nature within you. You can literally say the name divinity and feel the power behind it. As I am saying the name divinity right now, I am feeling the power. Once you establish your signal, just begin with simple questions, yes or no questions, okay? Always keep it simple. Is this aligned for me? Should I move forward? Is this in my highest good? We just want to do yes and no questions. And always go with the first thing that you hear. And here's something people struggle with. It may sound like your own voice, and that's okay. Your higher self speaks through you, not outside of you. So start small. Don't jump into life-altering questions right away. Build confidence and practice daily. Communication straightens with consistency. And please, whatever you do, just don't become frustrated. Because the more you're able to connect with your higher self to align with your own energy, the easier your life begins to be. So again, the more you practice, the easier it becomes. Just like strengthening a muscle. Your higher self is here to guide you, to answer questions, to support you. But remember, it's not a quick fix. Your higher self will guide you. Your higher self will make suggestions. And your higher self will nudge you. Trust me, your higher self nudges a lot. Your higher self will never override your free will. It will never drag you down a chaotic path, lead you into harm, nor will it ever manipulate you. Your higher self makes suggestions. And because we have free will, you can choose to take that suggestion, or you can choose not to. You choose. That is divine partnership. Just know you've got this. It might sound difficult, but in all honesty, it's not. And once you're able to connect with that divine essence, you are going to know, you're going to feel it. And it's a remarkable and amazing connection. And when you say the name divinity, feel it. There is strength in that word. There is authority in that word. And you will feel it. You will feel it because you are the divinity within yourself. Not outside. You're not separate. It's within. Thank you for listening to another episode of Spiritually Influenced. If today's message resonated with you, sit with it. Practice it. Begin building that relationship with your higher self and see what unfolds for you. If you'd like to connect with me, you can visit my website at vkennedy.com. All of my social links are there, and I truly would love to hear about your experiences as you begin working with the divinity within. So until next time, stay well, stay blessed, stay grounded, and remember, you are the divinity within yourself.
Carry the wisdom, take it inside. Every small step is part of the climb. Honor the journey, trust what you find. The answers live where truth aligns.